I think that forcing transgenderism and novel sexual fetishes on more traditional cultures does not advance American interests. It alienates the United States. Do you believe that spending over $3 million for being LGBTQ in the Caribbean is a reflection of American ideas in action?
I believe that the programs that are focused on global health and
yes or
food
no is
security,
fine. Yes or no will
the
suffice.
programs that in global health and food security and economic growth are absolutely
I'm not.
in the interest
I'm
of
talking about being LGBTQ in the Caribbean. Is that a reflection of American values? Yes or no?
I believe the programs that you're referring to are a reflection of
I'll
human
take
rights.
that as a yes. What about spending $70,000 for the production of a DEI musical in Ireland? Is that a reflection of American ideas in action? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. Do you think that spending $2 million for sex changes and LGBTQ activism in Guatemala is a reflection of American values?
The information that you are using is
Yes
so
or no?
faulty that it doesn't
It's a yes or no
describe
question.
the USAID
It's a
project.
sex changes and LGBTQ activism in Guatemala
is that coming
is an
from
accurate reflection of American values abroad.
Is
It's
that
a yes
data
or no
coming
question.
from Doge?
Is that a yes or a no?
What I want to understand
This is
the
a
data
yes or
coming
no
from
question.
Doge? Because they counted the same
I'll take that
USAID
as
program three
you're not going to
times.
filibuster. Reclaiming my time here. How about $1.5 million to promote job opportunities for LGBTQ individuals in Serbia? Thank you so much for holding this hearing today. We've heard throughout this hearing a bit more of the same shrill calumny against President Trump and Elon Musk that we've been hearing for months now. But I am happy that a few of our colleagues did concede that we need more oversight and auditing of our foreign aid. I'd like to remind them that every time Republicans try to do that and audit where government money is going, they try to stonewall us. So I hope that they will get on board with protecting the American taxpayer. I think as it relates to foreign aid, to the extent that we do engage in foreign aid, it of course should advance American strategic geopolitical interests, our commercial interests, and of course should help ameliorate major humanitarian crises. But it ought to be rooted in realism, which is a recognition that we have strategic interests abroad that we ought to advance. And it ought to be rooted in a rational conception of the way the world actually is and not the way some leftist secular bureaucrat at USAID believes the world should be. I think that forcing transgenderism and novel sexual fetishes on more traditional cultures does not advance American interests. It alienates the United States on the world stage. We've also seen USAID money going to oppose many of our allies abroad. Madam Chair gave a few examples, and I'll give a few more here. We've seen USAID money funding efforts to influence elections in India against Prime Minister Modi. We've seen our ally Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban accusing USAID of funding left-wing media outlets that are opposing him. We've seen USAID give $12.5 million just last year to the American Near East Refugee Agency, whose staff openly called for violence against Jews. The refugee agency also funded projects of the Unlimited Friends Association, which is a proxy organization for Hamas. This is not advancing our strategic interests abroad, and these are not promoting American values. Mr. Unger, I've got a couple questions for you. You've mentioned USAID as representing American ideas in action. Is that right?
Yes.
Do you believe that spending over $3 million for being LGBTQ in the Caribbean is a reflection of American ideas in action?
I believe that the programs that are focused on global health
Just
and
yes or
food
no is
security,
fine. Yes or
believe
no
that
will
the
suffice.
programs that in global health and food security and economic growth are absolutely
I'm not.
in the interest
I'm
of
talking about being LGBTQ in the Caribbean. Is that a reflection of American values? Yes or no?
I believe the programs that you're referring to are a reflection of
I'll
human
take
rights.
that as a yes. What about spending $70,000 for the production of a DEI musical in Ireland? Is that a reflection of American ideas in action? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. Do you think that spending $2 million for sex changes and LGBTQ activism in Guatemala is a reflection of American values?
The information that you are using is
Yes
so
or no?
faulty that it doesn't
It's
even
a yes or no
describe
question.
to USAID
It's a-
projects.
No, that is a direct description of what we're spending our tax dollars. Do you think that sex
that-
changes and LGBTQ activism in Guatemala
is that coming
is an
from
accurate
Doge?
reflection of American values abroad?
Is
It's a
that
yes or
data
no
coming
question.
from Doge?
Is that a yes or a no?
What I want to understand
this is
the
a
data
yes or
coming
no
from
question.
Doge? Because they counted the same
I'll take that
USAID
as
program three
you're not going to
times.
filibuster. Reclaiming my time here. We'll go to another one. How about $1.5 million to promote job opportunities for LGBTQ individuals in Serbia? Is that a reflection of American values?
Providing job opportunities for allies around the world is absolutely in the interest of the American people.
Well, I would like to maybe challenge you if you really believe in promoting DEI. I've got about 20 seconds left. Then, in giving jobs to somebody based on their minority status or the color of their skin or their sexual proclivities, you might want to consider stepping down from your job and giving it to somebody who has more minority points than you do.
Well, if that were what
with that, I
DEI
yield.
is about,
My time
maybe
is
I would,
over.
but it's
I'm
not what
yielding.
it's about.
I now recognize the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Fallon, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and my colleague from Texas did a very good job. Listen, the sky is falling. We hear it now, and not just in the DOGE subcommittee, but we hear it in oversight from our friends across the aisle. The sky's falling. The world's going to end. People are going to die. And then when they say Elon Musk's name, it's never Elon Musk. It's Elon Musk. Reckless gutting of the federal workforce in this hyperbolic fear-mongering is brought to you by the American left. Why, I ask, and so many others, the DOGE committee Dems are using this, quite frankly, sloppy, lazy, wildly inaccurate, and really boring rhetoric. Because this administration and this president is finally acting boldly, because so many administrations in the past haven't. They're acting boldly and courageously to ensure, wait for it, that the American taxpayers' dollars fund federal workers that work. I know that may be a radical concept to some. Now, let's set the record straight as well. Secretary Rubio has made it sure. He'd issued a blanket waiver for any life-saving aid. I think it's $72 billion that we're spending. Is USAID the perfect vehicle for this aid? Of course not. We found that it isn't. And we also recognize that China has that Belt and Road Initiative, and they're licking their chops. And if we took that $72 billion out, they're going to fill that vacuum. So that's just hyperbolic nonsense that we do not recognize that there's a role to play for the United States in the federal aid space. But what we want to expose is $164 million going to radical organizations, $122 million of it to organizations that have aligned or at least tied to terrorists. So, Mr. Primorak, putting aside the massive issues of handing money over to terrorists and such, can you speak to other ways that our foreign aid has actually hurt United States efforts and interests to counter the malign influences, let's say, of the Chinese Communist Party?
Our aid has created an international aid dependency. It's become international welfare. We need to put terms on these programs. The whole point of this is to help strengthen countries economically, politically, and become strong allies. We don't do that when we celebrate 30, 40, 50 years in a place. That means we are failing. The point of our jobs is to work ourselves out of a job. If we do that, if we focus more on trade, if we focus more on investment, we're going to create the kind of allies in the developing world that'll make us stronger in combating the China challenge.
So you're talking about self-sufficiency, it sounds like. You're talking about taking a developing nation and helping it develop.
And that's what they want.
One of the countries that come to mind, for instance, that had a successful journey over the last 60 years is like a Singapore. They don't need foreign financial aid from the United States. They're a wealthy city-state now, are they not?
Yeah, countries like South Korea, Taiwan, and other places have benefited. Look at them now.
Wild successes. Okay, so also, Mr. Brandon, while I got you, do you know of if USAID sent any funding toward lab research in Wuhan, China?
Just what I've seen in the newspapers.
Yeah, clearly we shouldn't be sending our foreign aid to China when they're our greatest adversary. Mr. Unger, thank you for being here. Just to follow up on some of the things that Mr. Gill was asking you, $2 million, and this is a source. This is from the Federal Award Identification Number, so this clearly happened on the USspending.gov website. $2 million to, quote, activity to strengthen trans-led organizations to deliver transgender surgeries. Do you think that's a good use of taxpayer money?
I defer to Congress, sir. If Congress appropriated the money
that's
and
not
was
what I asked.
notified about the program,
Mr.
then
Unger,
I
do you
believe
think
it's in the interest of the
Do you
American
think it's a good
people.
use of taxpayer money?
I believe it's a good use of taxpayer money for Congress
That is
to
very
appropriate
telling.
funds.
Thank you. I yield back to the chair. Thank you.
Thank you.